7.5 hours from now, when it is reported by Jay Glazer and Schefter and all the usual suspects that the Cowboys and Dak Prescott officially were unable to reach a contract extension, what it will mean is you can start counting down the days that Dak Prescott has left as a Dallas Cowboy. If he does not reach a contract extension today, I believe that in 2022 he's playing for a different team. Not next year, obviously not this year, and I understand that seems like a far out prediction, but the only way to read the decision flow of Dak and his agent when they turned down $100 million guaranteed going into last season, when up to that point in his career he had only made $2 million total playing football. And now when they're going to be turning down a contract that, aside from the Mahomes deal, would have been the record-setting contract in NFL history as far as guaranteed money and average annual value, the only way to read that is that they are dead set on reaching free agency, that they are dead set on Dak Prescott in the spring of 2022 becoming the hottest free agent prospect arguably in NFL history. The only person that could come close to it would have been Peyton Manning, but he was coming off neck surgery. So, Greg, the way I read it is, if this reporting is correct, and I believe it is, that Dak's going to play this year on the franchise tag, if he's willing to roll the dice for $31 million, I damn sure believe he'll roll it next year for $38 million, and then will become the rarest of unicorns in the NFL, a fully healthy, we would hope, in his prime, true free agent quarterback, and the whole league will be able to bid on him, Greg Jennings.
I can agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think that the future for Dak Prescott will be him ending up in the same uniform we've seen him in, which is the Dallas Cowboys uniform. And the reason I believe that to be true is because if they do not come to terms within that window that you just said, 4 p.m. Eastern time today, I truly believe that next year they are going to have to give, if they really want Dak Prescott, because you got to look at who's available and who potentially will be coming out in college and where you would potentially fall as a team to be able to draft, or how far up you would be willing to move in the draft if you don't have a top pick to grab another quarterback to replace Dak Prescott, to give you the opportunity to win now. Again, the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones are in the business of winning now rather than later. This is why they've been paying all of everyone else on their roster outside of the quarterback, which is completely opposite of all 31 other teams in our National Football League. But I do believe that next year Dak Prescott will get a deal if they don't come to terms by 4 p.m. Eastern today, simply because they will understand now how serious Dak Prescott is, as well as understanding they are going to have to give him what he's asking for if he is to stay a Dallas Cowboy, or what you said will become a true and fact reality. He will walk out the door testing the free agent market.
Yeah, Nick, I want to ask you a question. Across sports, I'm going to put you on the spot for a list here. Name me the team and the position, best jobs in the world.
Oh, okay. So shortstop for the New York Yankees. Yep. One could argue once upon a time point guard for the Los Angeles Lakers, but that's probably not the case anymore. Quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Those are your marquee spots, right? I mean, I assume that's what you're leading to, Wildes, is that Dak right now has one of the absolute right front and center on Broadway jobs in the NFL, and that would be baked into his math on this, Wildes, on him not wanting to leave the Cowboys. I assume that's where you're going.
That's exactly right. I'll go one step. I'll just make it global. I'll say like striker for Real Madrid, and I think Dak's job is better than that. So you could argue, and I'm going to, that Dak has the best job in sports in the entire world. In the entire world. And that position mints stars. So the idea that he was going to want to leave for a better job somewhere, that he's going to take the Kirk Cousins route and go play for the Vikings, I think is penny wise and pound foolish if he hits free agency. Let's look at the history of the Dallas Cowboys. You can tell the whole story of this franchise for 60 years with 6 quarterbacks. Don Meredith played for 9 years. Staubach played for 11. Danny White, 13. Troy played for 12. Tony Romo, 14. Dak's going on 5. There's a few things you'll notice about this list, besides the fact that these people are all super famous. 3 of them are all-time legendary broadcasters that will most likely make more money in their post-career than they did while they were playing for the Cowboys. Don Meredith was the first Monday Night Football announcer. Troy, legend, #1 Fox guy, obviously, and Tony just signed his big CBS deal. So the idea that he's going to take more money, or like, let's hit free agency, so as Nick, as you said, the whole league can have a shot at him. What job is better than this? I just tell me what job, if you're Dak Prescott's agent, are you saying like, hey, let's hold off, let's go and try to get the Broncos, let's try to get the Las Vegas job? Right. What are you thinking actually happens here?
Well, listen, I think a third of the league could be looking for quarterbacks. I mean, Washington, Chicago, Tampa, Vegas, Denver, Jacksonville, Indy, Pittsburgh, the Jets in 2 years. And I know Jets fans are like, what about Darnold? But those are teams that all in 2 years could be saying, you know what, either our young quarterback didn't pan out or our older quarterback has phased out. And so I understand your point that it's not the marquee. It's not the marquee job. But you referenced Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has won the business side of the NFL. Show the money. Kirk Cousins from 2016 through the end of the 2022 season, all of that is fully guaranteed. That adds up to $194 million
nice.
for 7 years of football for Kirk Cousins from 2016 to 2022. And for Dak, here's the analogy I would use, Jenna. You remember the old show Deal or No Deal, where you have the briefcases, sure. Everyone's going for the $1 million, and then they offer you deals. Dak, going into last season, had 4 briefcases left. The $1 million, the $500,000, the $250,000, and $10. And they're like, hey, you want to take the banker's offer of $300,000? It's pretty good. You might end up with the 10. He said no. And the next briefcase they opened was the $10 one. That's now gone. So he went into this negotiation. Worst case scenario is your franchise tag, $31 million. The best case scenario is the highest paid player ever. He once again is saying, no, open another briefcase. Now he's going to go into next year, $500,000 and $1 million. Only briefcases left. You bet your ass he's going to say, man, I've rolled the dice this many times. There's $38 million guaranteed to me for next season anyway. I'm going to hit free agency. I did not come this far to not hit free agency. And if he does, even if he wants to stay with the Cowboys have 7 players on their roster that are making $10 million plus this year, next year, and the following year, because they've overpaid. They overpaid Jalen, probably overpaid Zeke, overpaid Amari, paid money their offensive lineman, overpaid DeMarcus Lawrence. So Jenna, if he does hit free agency, I don't think they are going to be able to blow him out of the water with an offer the way other teams would be able to.
But the difference between the 4 years the Cowboys are offering and what is it, $100 million guaranteed or somewhere in that neighborhood, and what he could hit in free agency, I mean, we're talking about lumps and sums of money far beyond what we could imagine. Greg, I want to ask you something about what Wildes brought up. You're the former player here. How important is it to the player? How important is nostalgia, the intangibles, the playing for that organization, having one of the best jobs in the world to an actual player? Do you factor that in when you have a choice between quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys or playing the field?
To be 100% honest, Jenna, when you're 25, 26 years old, you don't begin to factor that in. You're not focused on that because that's on the back end for the most part that guys start to think about where they are, what it can parlay into, and the opportunities that are provided because of what position that they're in within that organization. When I was with Green Bay, I didn't think about necessarily the legacy that I would have had or all the intangibles that come with being a Green Bay Packer if I ended my career as a Green Bay Packer. That wasn't the thought. The thought was, how can I best take care of my family right now with the position that I'm in currently and give them the best financial stability right now? Not so much looking at the future. And some would say, well, you're not looking deep enough into your future. You're not putting into any forethought. And that may very well be the case when you're thinking of millions and millions of dollars that you can make right now versus banking on the potential of what it can parlay into. And when you're young, it's something about when you're young, you have a prime focus on what's in front of you and what can potentially be in your possession right now. And he's not looking at a booth job. He's not looking at all the endorsements and everything that he could potentially get because of being a Dallas Cowboy quarterback. No, he's thinking about what Patrick Mahomes just got. He's not a Dallas Cowboy quarterback. What Carson Wentz got. He's not a Dallas Cowboy quarterback. What Russell Wilson, all these other quarterbacks, they're not in his position. He understands that. But one thing that they are doing is getting paid, and he just wants to get paid.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.